Hello everybody, George Kenner. This is not going to be a big cinematographic production. This is a guy in his workshop with his two favorite tools, the STEPCRAFT M1000 and my Eon Mira 7. What I tell people is get the right tool for the job. And to do that, I want to encourage you to make Zoom calls. Now, you may have seen my most recent short where I'm setting up another shop in another location. My girlfriend and I have separate homes and live in different areas, but we spend a lot of time together and we're both addicted to this hobby. She's got a new M1000 waiting for assembly. But I went through the process and I tried to determine whether I should buy a Model D from STEPCRAFT or even another brand. But the important part is I was able to do a Zoom telephone call with somebody in sales. This time it happens to be the CEO of Stepcraft, and this is that call. I encourage all of you, if you were to reach out to either of these companies, I know they both do Zoom calls. Well, let's go to the interview. It's lengthy, but I think if you're really serious about buying a machine, this may be a video you want to see in its entirety. Okay, everyone, this is Eric Royer of STEPCRAFT US, and he's the CEO. He's agreed to do this video, and it's basically, as I said in the intro, going to be like a sales call. Eric, I understand that you have a product that you've changed a little bit, the D1. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, STEPCRAFT started 2012, 2013, and our initial D series machine was our flagship product. And we had four sizes. It was a 210, a 300, a 420, and a 600. And that in 2015 was upgraded to a version 2. We called it a D2. And we introduced our 840 size. So it was the largest machine we had at the time. And we did a lot of improvements, some rigidity improvements and things like that. And since 2014, 2015, that's been the D series product line. Now, since then, we've introduced our M series machine, which is, we've talked about the machine you own, as a matter of fact, and which is our next step up. So that would be like our prosumer type machine that has a lot of unique features. We've also introduced our Q series, which is our industrial platform, which goes from a 2x4 to a 4x8 foot CNC. That gives you industrial quality. So we've broadened our product line a lot over the years. And now it was kind of time to go back full circle and take a look at our original D series, which was the D2. And we just recently introduced our D3. And with that, we've made a lot of improvements. We've made a lot of improvements over the original machine. And we finally are starting to ship those now. So we're excited about that. And we're getting a lot of really positive feedback from customers. I mean, it's a really good platform.
Perfect. So everybody knows that you'll do a Zoom call for sales anytime anyone wants to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Either myself or my sales manager, Bobby, even Greg has done them before. He's our service manager. So yeah, the three of us are available anytime anybody needs us.
Perfect. So what I have right now is I have your website opened up on my screen so that I can reference some of the things that I'd like to do.
Okay.
Or questions I'd like to ask you. So now on the D series, can you take and get the same type of depth from the D series that you can from the M? Can I go all the way through the table?
So no, the short answer is no. That's one of the things that made the M series unique to any of our other machines, and in fact, any other machine in the industry. The M series is kind of an exoskeleton design where all of the structure is along the outside of the machine. And that means you could take the table off and you can machine into anything that sits in between the frame of the machine, or the Z-axis was made a lot taller on that machine. So you could, whatever the machine is sitting on, you can machine into it. So the floor, table, a piece of plywood, whatever you put the machine on, you can go straight down through it. On the D series machine, we don't have that ability. It has cross supports on it that go across underneath the table to really make the machine super rigid for a entry level kind of desktop machine. But because of that, it didn't allow for us to actually machine straight down through. So that we had to keep some differentiation between our D series and our M series. And if that's something that somebody wants, then, then the M series is definitely what you should be looking at.
Okay, so the this looks like quite a rigid extrusion here on the left-hand side. Is that something that's standard in all machines, or is this unique to you guys?
Yeah, so it is very unique to us. I mean, I'm very familiar with a lot of our competitors out there. We're not the only one to use extrusions. There are other machines on the market that use extrusions. Some use an off-the-shelf extrusion. There's a company called 8020 that you can buy, readily available in the United States, all different shapes of their extrusion. And then these companies will make bracketry and things to kind of assemble it and turn it into a machine. I don't know of anybody that's doing like really super custom extrusions, but that's kind of been our thing since the very beginning. Every single part that is aluminum on our machine. So when you look at our machine, it's silver kind of and orange. And anything that's silver on any of our machines is an extrusion that is a custom designed extrusion that we design ourselves, and we make the dies, and we have a company in Germany that extrudes them, machines them, and sends us the parts back to our exact specifications. And like I said, I don't know of anybody else doing anything quite to that extreme. It's an expensive process to make dies. I mean, if you look at our average machine might have, 8 or 10 different dies for major frame components. But like one of the most impressive ones is our X-axis gantry support. When you look at it, like for instance, right now on my screen, I've got the cross section of our X-axis gantry. And if you look at the geometry that's in that, there's a lot of triangles, there's a circle. All of these different things were engineered to provide an extrusion that no matter what size machine you have, whether it's a smaller one or the bigger 840, or even it's the same type of extrusion in our M series. So even on our M1000, where it's, 3 feet wide, it's so rigid because of that engineering that you never get any twist in it. So whether you're machining on the left or right side of the gantry or smack dab in the middle, you have the same rigidity. And when you're really pushing through hard material like hard plastics and aluminum and hardwoods, and you're moving that end mill through, you don't want it to be rigid on the edges and then have flexibility in the middle, because that'll show up in your finished piece. You want it to be rigid all the way across. Mm-hmm. And so we take the extra effort, and this has been our thing since day one. And this is the new extrusion on the new D3 series, which is, significantly stronger than even our original D series.
How about vacuum table? Vacuum table available on the D?
Yes. So as of this new series, we have a integrated vacuum table available for all our machines. So the Q, the M, and now the D series has a vacuum table. It's actually I don't have it on the website yet. It'll be on the website within the next week or so. It's a brand new product that we're going to be integrating into the machine. So it's a vacuum table grid system that uses the cord, so you can kind of configure the vacuum any way you want, depending on the workpiece you're doing. Very similar to what we use on our Q and our M series. But we've also integrated aluminum T-tracks into the vacuum table itself. So if you want to clamp something, like if you're doing say an aluminum job, or you want to put a vise on the machine, you have extruded T-tracks that you can clamp with, and you don't have to rely on vacuum for that. So rather than swapping tables out, it lets you do both things with the same table. So that's going to be something unique on the D3 series machines.
So automatic tool changer available on the D series or not?
Yeah, so that's another claim to fame for STEPCRAFT. I mean, since the very beginning, every machine we make, no matter what size, we have an automatic tool changer spindle available for it. The D series and the M series use the MM1000 DI spindle, which is a computer controlled spindle, but we have an automatic tool changer using SK15 tool holders, which house an ER11 standard collet. So they're good up to like 1/4 inch diameter.
So, not to interrupt you, but because my brain went reeling. The spindle,
Yep.
is the spindle the same on this as, say, the M series, like the one that I have?
Yeah, so you have an MM1000 DI spindle on your machine too. So it would use the same spindle on both machines. We used to have a smaller spindle called an HF500. We still do. We haven't phased it out, but it's just in our market, people always are asking for more power. So we really only sell the MM1000 DI now. That's pretty much a standard for us on both of the D and the M series machines. On the M series, we also released a new spindle called the 1650, which is it's got about twice the power of the MM1000. So it allows you to go all the way up to 1/2 inch shank tooling. So the M has, M and D, 2 spindle options basically, and the D has the MM1000 DI.
Now, I say this jokingly, but I told you I wanted everything on my M series, and it sounds like there may be a better spindle now.
There is now, it's not even on the website yet.
So,
It's
what I'm saying is there's as the machines evolve, and I wanted to change that, I could make that change.
oh yeah, it's a 2-second
the
install. Yep.
So what I'm saying is the platform for the D, if there are upgrades, you'll be working from the base, I'll call it the base platform.
Correct.
There's opportunities to upgrade them. You guys are always looking to upgrade the machines over time, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Working from the same base frame.
Yep. And I'll give you an example, and that's a good point. So one of the things that the new D series has is we're running dual stepper motors now on the Y-axis. The previous 2 iterations of the D series had a single stepper motor on Y with a belt that ran across to tie the left and right lead screws together. And a few years ago, we introduced what's called a performance kit, which you could buy. So you could take your existing D series machine and you could upgrade it to have dual motors on it. So the new D3 machine has that quote unquote performance kit as a standard part of the machine now. So there is no more belt, it's 2 motors, and they're more powerful motors than we used before. So, you get more speed, more rigidity, when you're machining on this than you did even with the performance kit upgrade on a previous machine.
I did recently a video where I went to Melbourne, Florida for a company called Aon Laser, and somebody accused me of being in the bag for the company. Well, honestly, I love the company. And what I'm trying to do is, for my audience, is make some points that aren't necessarily in the literature, but are there and things that I found. Can we go back to the price for the machine?
Sure. Absolutely. So, so we have on the D series machines, we offer 3 different versions of that machine. And we have the 420, the 600, and we have the largest one, which is the 840. So the prices on those machines are $18.99, $21.99, and $24.99 respectively, depending on the size. And that's for a kit machine. So that would be, it would arrive to you in a box with a very, very high quality, full color assembly manual, and all the components that you would need to put the machine together. So
you just recently excuse me, but you just recently did a video series on the assembly too, correct?
Yeah, so what we did was for each machine that we have that we sell as a kit, we created an online course for those machines. So we basically took every step in the manual and we created a video. We have a video studio here in our facility, and we created a video to match up with every single step. So, some people do well with manuals. Some people, learn better when there's a video. So we kind of give everybody the option. And if there's a step that maybe the manual doesn't make sense, you can refer to the course, watch that video, and that'll walk you through exactly as if you were talking to one of us directly.
Okay, so I've been looking at the site and I want to price it. When I look at this and I start at $24.99, I got to add a spindle, right?
Correct. So you would have to add the spindle to it.
Let's add if your site is active on your screen, can we
Yep.
add the spindle and the tool changer?
So yeah, if you add the spindle, you're at $29.98, so roughly $3,000. And
Mhm.
then if you go ahead and you add the spindle with the automatic tool changer, you're about 3,900.
Okay, so if I didn't want the tool changer or I was trying to do it, I have options to get started and something that I could add in the future, correct?
Correct. Yep. You could do that, and the automatic tool changer can be easily added to any of our machines in the future.
Mhm.
And usually, as part of the sales process, we have a pretty in-depth conversation with our customers to really get an idea of what it is that they're looking to do with the machine. And based on that conversation, you kind of we get a sense of, have they used the CNC before? Is it, are they brand new to this? And the last thing I want to do is sell a lot of complication to a customer, because the beauty of our product is if you buy the machine today with an automatic tool changer versus buying it without and then adding the tool changer later, the cost is exactly the same. So it's not like there's any benefit. I mean, I guess the only additional thing would be the UPS charge to ship it to you later. So you're maybe $20 in UPS fees. So because of that, there's no force for a customer to like, oh, you better buy it with the tool changer because there's a price break or something like that. And it allows us to suggest to the customer, you know what, buy the machine, get it set up, learn how to use it, get comfortable with it, and then give us a call in 2-3 months and order an automatic tool changer. And then you will already have been comfortable with 90% of the machine. Now you can take on, okay, setting up the tool changer and what are the benefits and, how do you program it and that sort of thing. Not that it's complicated, but we just try to, my goal is always to make the path to success as fast as possible for every customer.
One of the things that I get from, I'll call it my YouTube subscribers in both email and comments is they want me to compare my machine to One Infinity. And I don't have a One Infinity. I'm not a subject matter expert. I haven't seen all these things. But if somebody, as I look at it, one of the things that I see is I have the ability to pick this D series up, even like my M series, and move it to another location.
Mhm.
So I think with the One Infinity, I've got to basically bolt it down on the workbench.
Yeah, I mean, what they're selling, and first off, yeah, I think they make a great product. So I'm a fan of a lot of our competitors, to be honest with you. There's enough business in this industry to go around, and there are some really interesting and intriguing products out there from our competitors. Especially competitors that can offer a solution for like a price point that we could never reach. I think that's awesome because it allows people that maybe can't afford a $3,000 system to get involved for, $1,200. And then down the road, when they really realize that their business is expanding or whatever, then, then they call us and they're like, okay, now we need something with a tool changer and all this other stuff. But the Onefinity machine, they're selling you basically the mechanics or the gantry mechanics of the machine. And then you would then bolt that down to a workbench or a custom table or whatever you want. I think they even make like a rolling stand or something that you can bolt that machine down to. But it's not something that you would run like right out of the box. You have to create a table or something to affix it to.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm a big believer in right tool for the job.
Yep.
You don't buy a Jaguar to run it in the sand dunes. Just doesn't work. So, I really like your approach, with that there's a lot of good machines out there. There are a lot of different ways to win. One of the things that I really liked, was the ability I could put my own machine together, but I didn't have to. And as you know, you guys assembled my machine and I put it on the desk and I was plug and play.
Yep.
And it still took me a little bit of time, but how much does it cost for you to assemble this and send it to me in one piece?
So it's $4.99. So For $499, we take the machine here. We have one of our technicians build it. Usually takes them about a day. Then it goes through a pretty rigorous testing process before we go ahead and we crate it. So we have custom crates made that we ship the machine to you in. That $499 includes all of that. So it's, we assemble it, we test it, we crate it. And then, there's, of course, there's a shipping charge, whether you buy it either way, to get that to you. So when it comes to you, the one thing that we are changing though is, the terminology we say is ready to run. And it's important that we always tell customers this. So I'll give you an example. In the summertime, right, we're in Connecticut. So we might have a day here that's 80 degrees. And then you're in Arizona. So if we ship a machine to you and it's sitting in a truck, it's 80 degrees here, it drives across the country, it may see 60 degrees at night, then it sits in a warehouse or in a yard out in Arizona where it's 110 degrees. The aluminum and everything in the machine is getting hot and cold, and it's moving a little bit. And so the other thing is, when we build these machines here, we have a bench system that we build them on that's completely flat and true. And if I take our machine and I give it to you and you just came here and you picked it up and you brought it to your house and you put it on a bench that was twisted, well, the machine over a day or so is going to kind of want to settle out, or it'll rock, And so the reason I say that is because even though it's a ready to run, it's not like a printer that you would buy from Staples and just plug it in, it works. You may have 15, 20 minutes of fine adjustment that you have to make once the machine gets to your shop and you install it, because, if you have to make some adjustments to the feet, you're going to have to do that, but it's only one time. So it takes a few minutes and our technicians are always available to walk you through it, but you do need to spend that, 10, 15 minutes or whatever, just to get it like in its resting place when it gets to your facility. And, that's something that, so we're looking at, the name right now on our screen is ready to run, but that's going to be changing to just assembled. So you can get it assembled or as a kit, because I don't ever want anybody to think we're misleading them. And we always tell every customer that buys an assembled or ready to run machine that, yes, we did all of the work for it, but you're going to need to give us a call or follow a couple steps once the machine gets to you, just to get it so that it's tweaked perfectly. And that's kind of another thing too that is a little difficult with us. These machines are designed to such high tolerances, right? Like there's no slop in them. They're designed to hold, 1,000th accuracy when machining aluminum, and they're very rigid machines. So it doesn't take a lot when you have something that's so accurate to kind of make it so that it's not running smoothly or something's up. So, when you look at some bigger machines like a Haas CNC, where it's a $80,000 machine, they don't just ship it to you and you do it yourself. Usually they have technicians that come and they have special levels and they got all these different things they have to do to get that machine so it's perfect on your floor, because your floor is different than the floor where the factory was. And the same thing kind of holds true on our machines. You'll get crazy accuracy out of them. You just need that 10, 15 minutes of patience when you get it, just to follow our instructions and set it up.
Who is your average buyer?
That's a tough one. It's everybody. Like I was at a meeting last night, a Chamber of Commerce meeting, and somebody asked me that question, like, who buys your machines? And it's like, literally, you could pick up a phone book if they exist anymore. And anybody, like anybody you point to could be a potential customer. I mean, we have, school systems, we have businesses, we have, just families, just a family that's looking to do something together, and woodworkers and crafts. Like we have a lot of women that own our machines and they use them for craft projects. And because we have so many different attachments, it's funny, a funny story. I had a customer once years ago, we were at a trade show, and he came up to me and he says, I really want to buy your machine, but I got to talk my wife into it. I said, okay, no problem. He's like, so you can add like a drag knife and a laser and all this stuff so she could do her crafts on it as well. Like, yeah, absolutely. It's very simple to do. And he goes, okay, He goes, so I'm going to bring her back over here and you need to help me sell her on this machine. And he was a tall guy and his wife was a little shorter and he was standing behind her, and she would ask a question or something and he's just shaking his head or nodding his head to kind of tell me, yeah, that's what you should say or what you shouldn't. And that they've actually become good friends of mine. They've had a machine for years and they use it. Their kids use it. She uses it for scrapbooking, and they've since started an Etsy store and they sell all kinds of stuff. And it's really neat to see, you know, we're not just pigeonholed into one particular type of person that would buy our machines.
You know, I had a friend come over, Grace came over a weekend ago, and she's like, well, what do you do with all this stuff? And the next few minutes, I take and put together a couple of pieces of wood, some exotics that I had. We glued them up, went to lunch, came back, planed it off, and made her a charcuterie board. She was amazed.
Yeah.
She wants to come back and do another one. So, you know, it's like, it's a great tool, and you can really, I have a lot of fun with mine. But I was really wondering, commercial application, you know, especially in the economy right now, a lot of people are looking for a side gig.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you sell a bunch of these to, like, you know, small sign companies, engravers, artisans?
Yeah, I think if I was making an educated guess, I would say probably better than 70% of our customers buying a machine for a business idea or business purpose. You know, especially over the last few years with Etsy and Amazon and all these different places, it makes it very easy for you to start up a shop to reach a large audience. During the pandemic, we sold a lot of machines to people that, you know, either didn't want to go back to work or were just like, okay, now's time for a change. And you know, they've bought machines and they've started up side businesses. I mean, I've seen some really cool ideas that people have come up with over the years, things I never even would have thought of. And I love that because, you know, customers know that once they buy a machine, you know, you have an idea or you can't figure something out, you get on the phone, you give us a call, and Bobby, myself, Greg, whatever, we'll get right on it. And I love solving problems. So when customers call and they're like, hey, I gotta, you know, I want to engrave something on this round surface, how do you do it? And I may not know the answer immediately, but I'll think about it and I won't sleep much that night. And the next day I'll always have an answer and say, okay, here's what you can do. You can 3D map it. You could do this or that. So we've seen a lot of really, really cool ideas and a lot of people doing very successful businesses with it. And the other thing is, because you could start with like a D series machine, if you're not really sure what you're going to do, you know, we have a lot of customers that have started with an 840 and their business just blew up. And then they say, okay, well, now I need a Q404 or 408. And so that transition is something that's very common with our
So
customers.
not to interrupt, but all of these machines run off of does Vetric or VCarc Pro come with this machine?
We don't include it as a package. We are a reseller for Vetric, and that's 99% of the machines we sell. That is what we package together, would be VCarve or Cut 2D, depending on the application. But yeah, we're a partner with Vetric, and frankly, it's the best software out there. It's easy to learn and it's really powerful.
So, but the point being, if you start with a small machine and you keep upgrading, you're running the same software, which is really the biggest, in my opinion, the biggest part of doing all this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the software that we use, UCCNC, that runs our machine is the same. So even if you bought our smallest machine, which is a D420 machine, and then you said, I want to upgrade to a Q408, which is a 4x8 foot machine, it's the same software. Nothing changes. The screen is the same. Everything is identical. So you don't have anything new to learn.
And you and I did, and I'll probably attach it at the end of this video. We did a video tutorial on UNCNC, which if you've not yet bought a machine, it may be worth watching. I like to do a lot of research to know where I was going when I purchased.
Mm-hmm.
So I think probably the one other question is, I've seen a few machines, different CNCs, including a STEPCRAFT that was put on either, I'll call it a wall mount, where because of storage space and the person's relatively limited, they literally put it on like a roller system and would put it up on the wall so that it wasn't doing floor space. Now, would that be okay to do with this machine?
Sure. Yeah. We've had customers that have done that. They've actually taken the machine, they mounted it to a piece of 3/4 inch plywood, or they make like a 2 inch, kind of table and some heavy duty hinges mounted on the wall, and then have fold out legs underneath. So it'll come up, fold out. They got the machine, they can use it. And then when they're not using it, they just fold it back down. So it doesn't take up a lot of room, especially in like, if you had a 1-car garage, then that's something that it really comes in handy. But we also had customers that will run jobs on it while it's folded against the wall. Like the machine doesn't care that it's not horizontal, that it's vertical. As long as you can fasten the material securely, the machine's going to run and cut it, And one of my customers who did that, he sent a video a while ago, and I said, wow, I never even thought of doing that. He goes, yeah, and it's great too, because all the dust just falls right on the floor. I don't even need a vacuum. I was like, okay, well, that's a good solution.
So for all the people that have sat through this entire thing, you would maybe like to give a discount code for a limited period of time?
Yeah, so we'll do that. We'll, if you go to our shop and you add something to your cart, simply go and add a coupon code. Just add the coupon George Kenner. We'll do it all small letters, and that'll give you 10% off your order. And that'll be good from now until Halloween, the 31st October of 2022.
Perfect. Final question. Do you end mills? When you start, would you buy inexpensive ones from Amazon, or would you step straight into, the Amanas? And do you sell end mills?
Yeah, so we're a Amana tool partner. Absolutely, hands down, 100% my favorite tools. Like we use them every day on all of our machines. They have so many tools to offer. I've never run across an application that they didn't have something that would fill the need. And some of their tools they're not cheap per se, but they're not really, really super expensive either. But what I've learned over the years is that when you're learning to use a CNC, especially if you're building it, right? So you get this kit and you build it, you're excited, you're anxious to plug it in and make it move after spending 2 or 3 nights putting it together. You miss a step or something, right? And you don't think that there's a clamp in the way or a screw that you screwed your material down with or something. Or you mistype your Z depth. So if you want to go down 0.25 inches, you type in 2.5 inches by accident. Now you plunge in and you snap your bit almost instantly. So I usually tell people two things, 2 pieces of advice I always give people. Go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy like some 1-inch foam board, the insulation foam board, the rigid stuff. That is a perfect first material to play with the machine with. It's very rigid enough that you can hold a shape of whatever it is you're cutting, but it's not so rigid that if you made a mistake, you're going to hurt the machine and or bust an end mill on it. So that's step 1. Step 2 is I always recommend that you go on Amazon. For $10, you can get a 10-pack of really cheap 1/8-inch end mills or something. And I would just buy those, and I would use that to start, because an Amana end mill that I might suggest to you to buy, depending on your application, could be $25 for that 1/8-inch end mill. So when you snap it, because you made a newbie mistake, that starts to add up. And, depending on, $25, $25. But if you snap a one that costs you $1 or $2, it doesn't hurt as much. And again, I always like to get people on the fastest path to success. So discouragement is really a roadblock in that path. And, it's like, oh, I used this machine for 3 days. I broke 3 end mills. I'm out $75. That starts to, and then you get more like gun shy with the machine. And I don't want to see people do that. So, when they come to us, yes, we'll always tell them, depending on who they are and their experience level, buy this pack to start with, but then as soon as you're done with that, as soon as you got your confidence, you take the training wheels off, then by all means, go get Amana tools. You can get them from us. You can get them directly from Tools Today. it doesn't matter to me, but I recommend it because when you call us and you say, hey, I'm running this charcuterie board, I'm using oak and cherry, and it's a 1-inch thick, and I want to do a V carve in it as well, then I'm going to be able to tell you, okay, yeah, you're going to use the Amana tool 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're also going to use this V bit. And not only that, but here are the settings I recommend you use for our machine. So this is the feed and speed that I recommend. And that's huge. That's a huge value to people. If you call me and you say you're using somebody else's end mill, I can get you close, but I have personal experience with all the bits that we talk about. So from Amana. So that's why we suggest that.
Yeah, I just recently, and through a recommendation from that mom with a laser, I'll link her down in the comments. She told me to start an Amazon influencer store, and I did. So anybody that wants instant access to the tools, the expensive or inexpensive bits that I have, they're right there. So you can go and look and see, the things that I've purchased. But for the most part, I try and use Amana myself.
Yeah. Yeah, you really can't go wrong.
After this level, but I've been at the point where I was glad that I was only busting a couple dollar bit.
Yeah. I mean, at the beginning, absolutely. I remember when I first started, doing CNC, I'd have a piece of plywood on the machine and I'd be afraid to ruin it because it was a few dollars, and now I look at things a lot differently, but I still remember where I was in the beginning. And, it's just always nice to be able to give customers advice that takes that kind of fear out. A CNC shouldn't be a machine you're feared. It should be a machine that's fun. So that's one way to make it fun. Take the fear of breaking expensive bits out on your first project.
Okay, bud. I want to say thank you, not only for myself, but for all the people that, haven't really realized that they can pick up the phone, get a Zoom call, have a discussion. These are big investments, and to know the person that's behind it and the level of support that you're going to get and the engineering that goes into these, to me, is very important. I feel lucky that I bought the M series. I'm very happy with it. And, maybe we can do another video like this in the future.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time and thank you for the opportunity to be on your channel. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback on other mentions or clips that you've shown of our machines, and it means a lot to us. But yeah, by all means, anybody watching this, if you're interested or you're thinking about buying a machine, give us a call. I mean, we are not pressure salespeople at all. I've in the past, if you have an application and I know my machine can't do it, but I know a machine down the street can, then I'll tell you straight up, this isn't the best solution for you. So, we're always honest with people, and, I don't ever plan to change that. It's how I started this business here in the States, and it's how we intend to keep running it. So, but I thank you very much for the opportunity.
Perfect. You have a very good day. We'll talk again soon.
You too, George. Thanks so much.
Thank you. You're welcome.